Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach 2023 season. It's going to be the round 3 pre-lockout discussion here, and we're just going to go through what I've done, which is not much. I've flipped and flopped. But as it stands, I'm pretty sure this is the same team I landed on in the previous video, but we'll go into more depth on other things I've been flipping on. And also, we'll talk about captain, vice captaincies, and also who to sit and who to start this week. So, I mean, the first one, Wade Egan versus Reed Marnie. Now, it's a big decision. Now, I gotta be honest, the more I look at both of them, I'm not sold on either of them, but I feel like you've got to bring in one. Like, if you own Brandon Smith, I think you've got to get rid of him. Like, Smith could come out and he might get through this week because he has been named. I wasn't even really, honestly, before, the team list even came out, I was already getting rid of Smith regardless. It didn't even really cross my mind that he might not even play this week with that injury, but I was getting rid of him regardless. I don't think you can hold on to Smith. To compound the issues already, just the rib injury is just not good. It's not good, especially the way Smith plays. He's already so susceptible to getting a knock, to getting a head knock, to getting a fucking any sort of soreness from a tackle or a run. He just puts his head down and fucking goes. He's a nightmare to watch as an owner, dude. I'm just going to enjoy it a lot more not owning him. And now with the rib injury, it's just so, just cops a knock, cops a big shot late, or just a tackle. He did it making a tackle. I think he must have got, the knee of Montoya, which did it, I think. Or maybe he just got jammed up. I don't know. It was sort of a weird one where it hurt him. But yeah, even with all that, even if he was fit and he started to find some form, honestly, looking at him, he just doesn't look like he's going to go big. Yeah, I'm sure he's eventually going to burrow over for a try. I'm sure he'll have the odd try assist to one of the big boppers charging through. But even that's a bit up in the air because he's not really a finesse type hooker, right? So he's never really been known like a Harry Grant or a Reed Marnie or even an Egan for that matter, with those little short passes and excuse me, getting a try assist close to the line. He's more the guy that scores it himself, which is more points, granted, but I just don't see him going big like I thought he would at the start of the year, just looking at him. So Brandon Smith was gone. Wade Egan v Marnie, that was the main thing I was going to discuss on. But yeah, if you do have Brandon Smith and you're thinking of holding him, I don't think you can. I mean, if you are going to hold him, you pretty much is saying you're holding him for basically the whole year, I would say, because, maybe he's just going to be your second dummy half and try to find, if you don't already have Grant, try to get in a premium. But I think you just got to get rid of Smith while the prices have not dipped. But yeah, so Reed Marnie, and like I said at the start, I'm actually not sold on either of these two, but they are going to make good money. I think they're just the best options to go from Smith at the moment. Now, granted, I actually do have the money. I've got 300k in the bank. I could go Harry Grant instead of Wade Egan. Should I just do that? I don't know. The thing is that I didn't start Grant for a reason. And that was because he was so expensive. The Storm without Pappenhausen. They're now without Munster. Solomona is gone, who is he's Harry Grant's bread and butter. Solomon, I haven't done the stats on it, but I would imagine when Solomona is out on the field, Harry Grant skyrockets in attacking potential. Just with potential Solomona bursting through, getting a line break assist or a try assist. I know he did get robbed of a try assist with Solomona last week, but he does have that option. And then just the quick play the ball. Solomona gets in 3-4 tacklers, gets a quick play the ball, and Grant off. So now Solomona is gone. They still have some decent forwards, but not with the same impact as Solomona. So the fact he's gone now, they are getting some players back this week, which is nice. I got a bit off topic here, but Justin Olam coming back. Oh baby, I'm excited. I love Olam. It's been so disappointing not seeing him for the first couple of weeks, but fantastic to see him back. I'm pretty sure he was good to start. It's pretty quick recovery after a broken forearm, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna fade Harry Grant until after Origin, if I'm being honest, because the Storm have the bye, I think, in like round... Well, we can check. Christian Welsh, when do you have the bye? I think it's like round 6. Is it after the Roosters? If it wants to load, it's being nice and slow. Maybe there's a heap of people on at the moment. Yeah, no, they're round 9. So, you could bring Grant in, and granted, they are taking on the Titans and the Tigers. So, it's not a bad time to bring Grant in, but their team is weaker, and I think you can get, like, the value of Egan or Marnie, I think is just better at the moment. Then they got South, Roosters, Manly, Warriors have been okay, and then bye, and then South again, and then it's like, and then I'll be getting up around Origin time, so I think I'm just gonna fade him. I know that might seem crazy, and this is one of those decisions in Supercoach that really could be the make or break of me finishing well. Like the fact I didn't start with Grant, it could. It's cost me a lot already. Like fucking Smith got like 30 on in the first round, 10 in the second. Like I'm already like, it's probably like over 100 points down on Grant. So if I just went Grant instead of like Tanner Boyd, but then you got to factor in like you would have made the team weaker elsewhere. It's just a whole, there's plenty of other things to factor in, but obviously just looking at it like for like, not going with a good dummy half has really cost me and probably cost a lot of people so far, but I'm just hoping that we can survive it. But looking at a closer look at Egan v Marnie, now I've seen a few like podcasts and people talk about Marnie, and one thing that's always like people bring up, and Marnie's the case, and they sort of talk about his attacking stats, and the attacking stats might not persist, but Reed Marnie's going to make 50 plus tackles a game. That's 50 points, and I'm always thinking like, is that the case? That is definitely not the case. Like Reed Marnie has awful base stats. Like I'll come out and say right now, he has awful base stats. Now, obviously, you could look back in games, and I'm sure he has made 50 tackles a game or more in a couple of occasions. But even this year, I wanted to look at the stats this year, and I also had a quick look at last year. But this year in particular, round 1, he made, I think it was 42 tackles, which is good. Obviously, that's pretty solid. 42, but it's not a lot. Like, it's not a lot for an 80-minute dummy half, especially considering Manly had all the ball in that game. So 42 tackles and 30 run meters. In round 2, he made 37 tackles and about 27 run meters. That's not good. Now, obviously, the pluses of Marnie, probably his kicking game, honestly, compared to like other dummy halves. Like he's a sneaky 40-20 kicker, so you can't rely on 40-20s from a dummy half, but he probably, I don't know, he might average like 2 or 3 a season. He's already kicked 1, so you're probably not going to get too many more this year, but he has the potential of 40-20, and he does love a little sneaky kick into the in goal, so he might, I don't know, he probably averages like 1, maybe 2 a game, potentially, if they got a lot of ball. So you get some good points there. And then obviously he is very crafty around the ruck. But that's the thing, he doesn't run the ball much. It's more like he gets the try assist off online pressure and just passing it to like a big boy going through the ruck, which, as we saw with Harry Grant, like apparently they're going to be a little stricter with those this year. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. But also, the Marnie debate, I am biased because Reed Marnie absolutely fucked me at the start of last year. I picked him up because I thought this is a beautiful pickup. He came in pretty cheap. I think he was even a bit cheaper than this year. And I thought, you know what, playing at the Eels? The Eels made the grand final. Well, they made the grand final last year, but, you know, he was playing in a good Eels team. Surely he's going to be he was a pretty decent pot at the time, and he fucking killed me. And it wasn't like he scored like 50 and Grant and Cook went like 80 plus. He was scoring like mid to high 30s, and that's a sort of example of his low base stats. Obviously, the attack is there, and it's like that with most dummy halves. Like Grant's the same. If Grant doesn't get the attacking stats, yeah, he might only score 50 to 60 points, but he's got better base. He runs the ball more. Reed Marnie, on the other hand, if the attack dries up, and I'm just not convinced of the Dogs. Like, I know Reed Marnie has looked really good, and a lot of their attack is going through him, but he can fire these beautiful passes out wide, but if they don't directly lead to a try assist, he gets no points for that. So I'm off Reed Marnie. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're picking up Marnie, I definitely don't blame you. I still think Marnie is a good pickup. He's going to make some good cash, and, you know, they could continue the form, because the Dogs have the Tigers this round, so it's a very good matchup again for the Doggies. So Reed Marnie could go big again. But Wade Egan, honestly, he's basically 100k cheaper, so he's going to go up more cash overall, for the short term anyway. Long term maybe not, but he frees up more cash for me anyway to play with. And honestly, I was looking at his stats, and he's it's a good and a bad thing, because he has played basically 60 minutes in both weeks, which typically you would be like, that's not great. Like a dummy half only playing 60 minutes, I don't particularly like that. But the good thing about Egan is that he's getting through plenty of work in those 60 minutes. Like the tackles, I think the tackles in round 1 he only did like 35, and then round 2 he did like 40, 42 or 44 or something like that. So fairly equivalent with Marnie in terms of tackles, but the run meters in both games, he's run for like a tick over 80 meters, which is a lot. Like, he's running the ball far more than Reed Marnie, which just opens up more potential attacking stats for him, like a tackle break, an offload, a line break. So I don't expect Egan to continue the 80s, right? Like, I know that's not going to happen, but if he keeps that base up and the attack is still somewhat there, especially because the Warriors have a good forward pack. So if they keep the roll on, then I think Egan should still see some pretty good scores. And the fact of the matter is that I mean, most people were so keen on Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith, we were only tipping him to play 60 minutes, probably at tops anyway. Wade Egan is just such a safer option at basically the same price, playing 60 minutes as Brandon Smith. So if I was super keen on Brandon Smith playing 60 minutes at, bit under 500k, then why would I not be keen on Wade Egan when Wade Egan has already showed that he can go pretty big in 60 minutes? So I'm pretty set. Like, I definitely been flipping between the two, but I think my heart is telling me Egan. And there's been a couple of times already this year I've gone against my heart and gone sort of with my head and trying to play it a bit safer, I guess. But I feel like Egan is going to continue. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a breakout year for him. It could come crumbling down, but even if it does, like, yeah, okay, maybe he doesn't score a try or get a try assist in the next 3 weeks. I still think he's going to score like 50 points, which is fine, honestly. I'm not going to be disappointed with that, because Reed Marnie could do the exact same thing for 100k more. So that's what I'm leaning towards. They do take on the Cowboys, which I don't know. It is in North Queensland, so it's a tough game, but the Cowboys, they're looking a little weak through the middle, I've got to say. Their forward pack is not as strong as it as it has been, especially with the bench. So it'll be interesting to see. And the other thing I wanted to talk about with Egan is the 60 minutes, right? Because, and this I'm actually happy about it, because if he was, let's say he played 80 minutes the first 2 weeks, obviously the Warriors have some players coming back. Jazz Tavanga, the main one there. It would sort of be like, okay, he scored really well, but he's played 80 minutes in both those games. Jazz Tavanga is back on the bench. Does Jazz Tavanga take like 20 to 30 minutes off Egan? Maybe. But the fact of the matter is that he's only played 60 minutes in both games now anyway. So we already know he's going to play 60 minutes, and this is what he can potentially score. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked if he plays less than 60 minutes. Like, there's no real reason for it. He did have a little bit of a knock last game, but it seems like he's fine. So yeah, I'm pretty keen on the Egan shout. I don't think I'm gonna look at it again. I'm just gonna ride it, and we'll see what happens. As we go down the list, who else did I trade? Okay, yeah. So I got rid of Egan Butcher for Jacob Preston, obviously. Again, I think that's just, I think that's a must-have, really. He's been named in the back row again. Who knows, when Tavita Pangai comes back, maybe he goes to the middle and Fatala Mariner goes to an edge. But I feel like it's up to Preston. If Preston has a couple of shockers, then yeah, they might look at that. But if he keeps playing well, like, it'd be very strange if they ended up dropping him. Because Pangai has played off the bench through the middle a lot through his career, so it's not like a really big downgrade for Pangai. Like, he's done it most of his career anyway, and he has the same impact, so I wouldn't be too stressed there anyway. And the other big one that I flipped and flopped, this is what I originally had, was I got rid of Lachlan Miller for Jacob Kiraz. But then I realized Chance Nickel Clockstad was actually out for this week with concussion, which is annoying. It is very annoying, but again, they are taking on the Cowboys, so he probably wouldn't have scored that well anyway, so I'm not actually that torn up. But when I realized he was out this week, I actually flipped him off for Kiraz and kept Miller as like 3 premium, basically, center wings. But the more I was thinking about it, I thought, you know what, Miller, I do think Miller is a really safe and good option, but he is 600k, no Ponga now. Yeah, he's so safe to get like 50 points, but and again, it's one of those things where I'm sure Miller is eventually going to get a couple of tries and go big, but I think Clockstad he looked really good in round 1. I think he is. I just feel like Clockstad is due for some decent points, you know. I think he can do it. I mean, he's got Bulldogs in round 4, Sharkies, Newcastle, Cowboys again. Jesus, that's a quick turnaround for the Cows, and then the Storm, Roosters, Panthers, Dogs, and then the bye. So it's a tough draw. I got to be honest, this is the one I'm really torn. Like I just. I don't know. It's just so annoying that Ponga. I mean, I guess I'm acting like Ponga is going to be out for a long time, but you never know. He might not be. We don't actually know that. And Miller is just so safe. Like, I don't know. I'm so torn. Like, obviously, I get like an extra almost 300k from going Miller instead of Clockstad. But then I don't have one of those players this week. Although I'm pretty happy playing Alamotti and Warbrick, because the Dogs are taking on the Tigers and the Storm are taking on the Titans. So Warbrick is probably due for a try. Alamotti is probably due for a try. But that's the only one. Honestly, he's the one I don't know. I could definitely see myself switching, because it's just annoying that Clockstad's out this week, because I feel like the fucking head knock, dude. Because I want Clockstad. I feel like I still think he's a good pickup to start the year. But Miller, I'm also keen on Miller. I don't know, but having the extra cash is nice. But I'll talk about the team, who's starting in my reserves, and then I'll talk about plans for next week, because I guess we'll have a closer look at, do we actually need a 300k for next week? And maybe not. Honestly, maybe not. So let's have a look. So obviously Wading comes straight into the starting side. Again, is he going to get another big attacking game? I really doubt it. I would love him to. I would love him to get a nice little try again. But, you know, if he gets 50, 55, I'd be very content with that. Joe Tarpany, Christian Welsh, obviously. Fafita, Wilton, Hopgood. Just, yeah, start themselves. Sammy Walker and Adam Dewey. Now, there's also... Dewey apparently might be out for this game. So if the word is he is like sort of 50-50, I'll probably just swap in Katoa. Play Katoa. Dewey can be one of my reserves. Probably instead of... I don't know. Probably Utikamanu. I know we got the try and got almost 80, but I probably prefer Cartwright and Preston on the edge, and obviously Tedesco. So we'll decide that. But at the moment, Dewey's there. Holmes, Kiraz, Alamotti, and Warbrick. Honestly, I'm pretty happy to play both these cheapies. You know, Alamotti he's shown some good stuff. Obviously, round one, it was a bit of a shocker. We'll see if the Dogs can continue the form. Obviously, they're taking on the Tigers, so we'll see if they go down to the Tigers level, or will they continue to improve. We shall see. And then Warbrick, again, with no Munster, with no Papenhausen. I don't know. I'm not expecting massive scores, but surely he's due for a try, right? Like, I feel like he's been pretty close a couple of times, and the Titans' edge defense still is pretty weak. So hopefully there's some stuff there, and Tommy Trbojevic is my starting fullback. The bench, Tedesco, obviously, Utikamanu, Cartwright, and Preston. So my other options, like I said, if Katoa, depending what happens with Dewey, but Katoa, he could be a potential play anyway, but probably not unless I have to switch him. Khan Pereira, absolutely no shot. And that's why I'd probably switch Katoa, just because Khan might get like 10 points again, and it would be a terrible auto emergency. Luke Garner's off. Pele, obviously not. And then Tanner Boyd, like... if it wasn't against the Storm, then maybe, but I mean, the Storm have been leaking points, so Tanner Boyd, I'm not going to play him, but surely he's due for an attacking game, right? I don't know. I hope so. I just want him to see... I don't even care if he gets like a big score and I don't play him. I just want to see a big score so he makes some money and I can fuck him off quickly in a couple of weeks, but we shall see on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The captain, vice captain is really tough. I like Tom Trbojevic is clearly I think Trbojevic is the best vice captain option. Like Tedesco obviously is another chance. Do I give him 3 times in a row? Probably not, because they are taking on the Rabbits. He'll probably come out and kill it, but it should be a tough game regardless. So yeah, I wouldn't risk Tedesco this week. You never know. But Trbojevic, he's just such a good vice captain option, and especially in a week like this where I'm already playing some cheapies. If Trbojevic goes, honestly, if he goes like 110, 120 plus, I'd probably do the auto emergency or the vice captaincy loop like straight away. Honestly, I just think take the safe 100 plus points and ride it, because the captain choice is just not easy this week. Obviously Hopgood is a good shout, but he plays in the first game, so if I was going to vice captain one, obviously you would do Tom Trbojevic over Hopgood, because I mean the try assists are not going to continue and I feel like the minutes have already started to dip a little bit for Hopgood, so I wouldn't be shocked if he, like, people might expect another 80 plus. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes like 60, 65 really. So I'm not that keen on Hopgood, just because, I mean, it's first game of the round as well. And then who else really? I mean, Tarpany is probably my safest option. If Trbojevic doesn't kill it, honestly, I would be tempted to just chuck it on Tarpany just for a safe 60-70. So I don't, like, it doesn't really stuff me over. Because, I mean, Sam Walker, he's not a bad shout, but again, they're taking on the Rabbits. Like, I don't know what to expect from that game. He has looked good, though, and obviously with the goal kicking, he's got decent upside. Dewey, I mean, they're taking on the Dogs, so it's not a bad shout, but he might actually be out, so I don't know. Valentine Holmes, maybe against the Warriors. It's probably not a bad shout. And then Kiraz. I mean, honestly, Kiraz against the Tigers. You never know. But honestly, I don't know. It's probably. I'm honestly. It's probably either Holmes or Tarpany. If I had to. If Trbojevic doesn't come out and kill it, so I am just praying that Trbojevic comes out and gets 120, dude. Like I want to loop so bad this week. I don't want to have to rely on a captain that I'm not confident in. Even though Tedesco, I mean, both weeks I've got like 50s in the captaincy. So is it really going to get much worse than that? Probably not. Unless there's a head knock, which is always risky in the game nowadays. But yeah, that's all that. So what did I wanted to talk about the future planning. So now the big one, Nathan Cleary and Tedesco. Now I actually, obviously Cleary is carrying a bit of a niggle, but I feel like he'll be right. Like out of these guys, I actually think I'm just gonna keep Cleary. If he keeps thinking it up, maybe you get rid of him to just save a little bit of cash, and then obviously just wait till after Origin then to bring him back in maybe. But I think I'm pretty locked into getting rid of Tedesco. If Tedesco comes out and gets like over 100 points, he probably stays in the team. But the man is Reece Walsh. Like, I really want Reece Walsh. I saw a couple of comments that people were going Tedesco to Walsh. I can't fault it. I think Walsh is a fantastic pickup. He looked big. He looked strong. He looked incredibly quick. He was in everything. The Broncos have a really good team, and they should be putting on some points. So, if only he was goal kicking, he'd be beautiful. But I love the Walsh pickup. He's only like mid 500s, but yeah, I'm waiting a week because, I mean, one, it's not urgent, and two, I think Tedesco could still come out and score big, and you just never know. Like, I want to give Walsh another week anyway, just to see if he's got, like, if he doesn't get like that involved, does he still score like 50, 60 plus? Is probably what I want to see. Does he get involved as much as he can? So but that is probably the trade I'm looking at next week. I like, it's definitely not locked in, but I'm definitely keen on it. And then going forward, I mean, in the center wing, I'm pretty happy in the center wing. The only guy I want to bring in is probably Ruben Garrick, although he is mighty expensive. So you never know. Maybe Kiraz, if he goes up a lot of money in a couple of weeks, we could just shift Kiraz onto Ruben Garrick. Because I think Ruben Garrick is going to be... I just feel like he's going to be the number one centre wing that you want to have. So if we can bring him in a couple of weeks, I would love to do it. But the rest of them, I don't know. We'll let it sort out, see who sort of comes to the forefront. The 5'8", obviously the one guy, Schuster... I'm definitely going to bring Schuster in at some point. Not this week, and probably not next week. Although, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. It probably... Because Katoa can make some good money, and probably Cartwright and Preston both can. It probably... Honestly, Cartwright, out of all these guys, looks the most... His job security is probably the weakest, because Sean Lane and Ryan Madison are going to come back into that side, and especially Sean Lane comes back in, he'll go straight back to the left. Now maybe they shift Cartwright to the right hand side, but I would doubt it. So if that's the case, then Cartwright hopefully makes some good money. I I punt him off for Schuster, bank some more cash, and Schuster becomes, I think, a really good option. Or Katoa. If Katoa can just get some quick cash, then I definitely wouldn't hate dropping Katoa down to Schuster if Cartwright holds his spot, but we'll see. And then the front row is pretty good. Honestly, I'm happy with the front row. The back row, I probably still want Tohu Harris. He is the one, just so safe. He won't play Origin. He's just such a good player to have. I mean, he's fucking killing it. But give him a couple more weeks as well. And then the dummy halves, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing there. Tanner Boyd is probably going to go for Sonny Luke next week, depending on what he scores. Just to, again, free up cash. Sonny Luke, I'm not sold on Sonny Luke still, but he's basically bottom dollar, so I don't hate it. So I mean, if I'm looking at it like that, like I don't actually need that much money. I mean, I guess I got 300k in the bank. I could potentially make more money and then get Garrick without having to trade like Holmes or Kiraz. Yeah, that'd be nice. Especially if I traded Tedesco for Walsh. But if I trade Tedesco for Walsh, that frees up basically, it's probably only like 250 when Tedesco drops cash. So, yeah, I don't know. Still the decision I'm torn on, Klokstad or Miller. Honestly, after doing this video, I'm probably leaning towards getting rid of Klokstad and keeping Miller. Just because my backline would be pretty damn stonked then. But I like Klokstad could make some good money. I don't know. I'm torn. But the Knights also have a good run at games. Like, I know no Ponga, but they have a pretty good draw, and you know, I've got no Knights, so I like to have a little bit of diversity with the buys. So yeah, I'm torn on that. I'll have to make the decision quickly though. Oh man. Let's have a quick look at the top point scorers. Who's so Hopgood, obviously. Kiraz with that big 148 is up there. Wade Egan is number 3, dude. That's crazy. He's number 3. William Kennedy, number 4. Harry Grant, usual suspect. Reed Marnie with the 90 points is up in 6th spot. Tohu Harris, another 72. Azarko. So a lot of people are bringing in Azarko and Fido. I mean, honestly, I would have loved to have brought in Fido this week. I'm not going to lie. Like, he's looking good and he's getting involved. Out of the two, I would like Fido, but I just can't do it. I personally, I think Kiraz is just a better option than Fido. I know Fido will probably make, well, I mean, Kiraz is going to make so much money that potentially the money isn't going to be like that different. It's just that Fido's a lot cheaper. But yeah, I don't know. Fido has scored like 3 tries in the 2 weeks as well. So you can't expect tries every week. So, yeah, I don't know. I like but if I had the option to bring Fido in, I definitely would have done it. I'd probably get rid of Klokstad for Fido if I could, but obviously I can't. Sammy Walker, Junior Paulo, he only scored 50, like coming off that big score. I think he got 100. Yeah, he must get 103 in round 1. So Polo going back down to earth a little bit there. Dave Fafita up in 12th spot there. Josh King, Big Tino got a big 100. Herbie Farnworth, Fitzgibbon, you motherfucker. Oh, dude, this one kills me so much. Like, why did I not start with Fitzgibbon, dude? Why did I not go with my heart on that one? That's a real killer. Ali Katoa is also a guy. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I would have loved to have brought in Katoa, but at the end of the day, my back row is good. Like, I think Garner is starting to look good. So, I mean, potentially Garner could go to a cheapie as well if he doesn't keep the minutes up. But Garner looks good. Teague Wilton, I'm still happy with. Dave Fafita, obviously. And then I've got 2 cheapies in Cartwright and Preston that are looking solid. And who's the other guy? I forget who the other one is. But yeah, yeah, it would have been nice to have started with Katoa, but yeah, I just can't bring him in. Adam Dewey there, Campbell Graham only got 34 this week. Payne Haas, 65. I mean, you know, I'm not too disappointed in that, because Tarpany definitely played less minutes and still got about the same, so I'm still happy I stuck with Tarpany as well. Ezra Mam, 82, he's killing it. Kalamatangi. Mark Nichols. Mark Nichols, dude. He's in 3% of teams. He's coming down and scoring tries. He's on fire. Nikora, Dylan Brown, Carrigan, 63. Mitchell only the 62. So I gotta be honest. Mitchell as well. I depending how things shake up with Reece Walsh and Tedesco, Mitchell, if he can have like a quiet game this week, I would love to bring in Mitchell for probably Tedesco, because the Rabbitohs have had it. I think they have, like, their start of the year was tough, but I think it opens up pretty soon, because who do they? So obviously Roosters, and then yeah, Manly, Storm. So a couple of tough games, and then Bulldogs, Dolphins, Panthers, Broncos, Storm, Tigers. Yeah, it's sort of a bit stinky the whole way. It's probably like round 11 is where it gets really good. When's their bye as well? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Round 16? When did they have their bye? Oh, round 2. Wait, no, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Round 16 is their first bye. What the hell? That seems crazy. But I guess it makes sense. But yeah, Mitchell is a guy I'm definitely keeping an eye on. Hopefully he can drop some cash and potentially swing to this guy to Mitchell, but we'll see. Other than that, there's not too much else to really discuss here. Hopefully guys are enjoying the Supercoach content. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.